Hello, everybody. You're on with City Talk Fall River. I'm about to drop my microphone over here in a minute.
You're about to drop the mic? Is that what you just said?
I was about to boom and then drop the mic. So, my name is Trot.
My name is Derek.
And my name is Nikki.
All right, so clearly she's making fun of our voices because I am fighting something going on over here. I'm actually going to be heading up to Brockton Hospital as soon as this show is over. I am really fighting.
It's that bad that you have to go to the hospital?
Yeah.
And what the hell am I doing here?
Nothing. I'm fine. No worries.
It better not be catchy.
Nope. A good song is catchy, though, isn't it?
Like a great song.
Like a jingle.
Mm-hmm.
I think I need a jingle next time.
You need a jingle in your life?
89 more votes. If I get a jingle going next time, maybe I can get 289 votes.
Trot.
That would be interesting. All right, so people may want the link. I'm guessing.
Yeah, might help.
Well, good morning, everyone.
It is Thursday, 2 days after Election Day. And oh, what a lot of great things are going to be happening.
Oh, what an election it was.
Where do we start?
I lost.
Next topic.
School committee.
All right, we'll go there. School committee race.
You want to start with the school committee?
Yeah,
We can start with the school committee.
Yeah.
No, I think that we should probably talk about the fact that we have the youngest mayor of all time in Fall River history. Blew away the former DA and incumbent mayor Sam Sutter. That was pretty amazing to see and watch.
So, anybody want to try to take a guess as to what could have been Sam's downfall?
You know, I think I actually think Mike DeOliveira, host of Necessary Media, he actually broke it down, and I have it right here in front of me. So I'm gonna actually take a look at this as soon as it loads. There we go.
I was very proud of him for that. It was a nice post.
Yeah, he basically said, and I'm going to read it just line by line here. No disrespect to Jasiel Correia, but I think history will show Sam Sutter lost the election more so than Jasiel won it. If people go back to when Sam first took office, it was only 2 weeks before he made his first out-of-touch decision to not only try to fill 2 vacant assistant positions with 2 out-of-towners, but to try and create a 3rd position. The majority of people didn't like that too much, but most gave him a chance to vindicate himself. He then did himself no favors by continuously either showing up late and leaving early to scheduled events or just not showing up at all. Majority of people didn't like that too much, but some gave him a chance to vindicate himself. Then came the speech of shared sacrifice. That was the big thing. I actually tried to talk to Jasiel right before the event and say, you know, I haven't heard anybody talk about shared sacrifice. I'm kind of surprised by that. And you know what? Jasiel never brought it up in any of the debates, not once. Then came the speech of shared sacrifice, followed by the perception of anything but, with the implementation of the $10 per unit fee and the the $10 per unit per month trash collection fee. Majority of people didn't like that too much, but few gave him a chance to vindicate himself. So you can see the common theme there. And then finally, the debates, all of them lost by Sam Sutter, who seemed unprepared. As a matter of fact, we got a taste of that ourselves on City Talk a few weeks ago. He said he was prepared to talk about a topic. He was completely unprepared. And we had about 400 views. That's the most viewed show we had by far. And people were coming up to me, asking me about that and talking to me about that myself.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was, and I know they talked to you plenty about that as well. 'Cause, you know what I mean? Like that was a big thing. So, So Mike goes on to say he never demonized Sam. He always assumed he had good intentions. He just thinks that he had trouble translating himself to the majority of the residents that make up Fall River. And then, of course, he posted his video about the lot of gays. I see it's so for Mike to say it, I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate for Mike out there. He says that Sam had good intentions, but everyone knows that lot of gays thing and the Correia thing were not good intentions.
Right.
Everyone knows those were little tactics in the debate that he tried to pin on Jasiel. And how many times did he really dog on his age? I mean, that was just, to me, one of the more offensive parts of the entire process was consistently, and then having WSAR consistently rag on Jasiel Correia for his age. No, like let's start talking about content. If we start talking about content, there's a whole different conversation. And I know they tried to avoid it so much. They just kept on going with the kid, the young, the immature, and it didn't work. And I'm very happy that it didn't work.
Me as well. No, go ahead, Dark.
No, because I do want to point out the great thing that he said about the shared sacrifice. You know, you go back to the transition report, and you go back to all of the recommendations that were made in that transition report that were never, ever even considered by Sam Sutter. And his solution was tax people, was collect money from the poor. That was his solution to gaining money back for the city to cover a shortfall. Were there other solutions in the transition? Absolutely. No, I don't think he even cared. And that was, I think, that was the first moment I became very turned off to this guy getting another 2 years. He had a bunch of advisors tell him what things to try, just never did it. And to me, that was it.
Oh, we all know my issue. He could say the only thing he had to do was, or the only thing he could do was initiate the $10 fee. I know just from my research, not true. There are many, many, many other things he could have done. He could have saved $650,000 of that borrowing for those yard waste carts and just completely said, I'm sorry, we can no longer pick up yard waste. We can't afford it. He could have gone to housing and said, I'm sorry, we're going to remove all those recycling bins because you guys don't pay for it.
You're on with City Talk Fall River, sir.
That's fantastic. Keep ducking me, T.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said keep ducking me.
Keep ducking you? I don't know what you're talking about right now.
I've texted you. I've called you.
Oh, sorry, man. Honestly,
I think you did a great job. Honestly, you did. I was upset that you didn't win. I know it's tough for a first timer to win in the city, but you did. You did exceptionally well. I was following, the counts as they were coming in, and I thought, me and Vivian were sitting here, and we thought you had it, but there's 2 years comes up quick, so that's great job though. Honestly, that's strong work.
Thanks, man. I try not to make the show about me in my campaign, and I still want to keep on doing that. So I will say this. I went out and I tried to do what I can to congratulate the other guys and thank every single person for, getting involved and helping with my campaign. What is going on behind? It happens all the time. I'm sorry, guys. What's going on?
No, I just find it very strange that you said it's hard for a first timer to get back. Adam said it's hard for a first timer to get in. But wasn't there 4 first timers that just got in? You have Ponte, you have Cabeceras, you have Kadeem, you have Pam that got in. Those are 4 first timers, and you have Steve Camara, which he was already.
You can count Steve Long. You can count Steve Long too. I mean, he only served for 4 months. Yeah, I don't really count him as an incumbent.
Well, I can't count Steve simply because he ran prior and lost. He came in.
Oh, I see what the criteria is for this contest. And yeah, TJ, I wouldn't be trying to make the show.
I just want to throw it out there, Adam, that it was probably particularly hard for somebody who didn't raise any money to get in on their first time.
Right. That I'll agree with.
Oh, absolutely. And let's all thank God for social media and the grassroots recall and all that stuff, because you show that you do give a rat's ass about the city, and that's a good thing. But I don't mean to make the show about you, but had you answered my phone calls and texts, we could have already had this conversation not on the air. I think it's a good thing though that there are a lot of new, in addition to the new mayor, new city councilors, and even Steve Long, a different contest criteria, because some of the older councilors, and I'm glad Casey's out, I'm glad Pelletier's out. That's fantastic. It kind of lights a fire under them that, it's easy if you and I go into a job and we're both sitting around doing nothing for us both to do nothing. But if half the people at our job are working their tails off because, they're trying to make a name for themselves and they're trying to do well and they have a lot of energy because they are so young, that's great, because then, some of the people that have been there before, there's a whole different atmosphere change, and they say, hey, maybe I better get moving too. So I know I'm talking a lot, and I have to because I have so many things I want to say. The other thing is too, I think you're completely wrong again about the taxation. You're right that our taxes are being misallocated toward things that they shouldn't be, and maybe even stuff a little bit on the side of corruption. But I really think at the end of the day, we need to pay more taxes. And imagine if we took the tax money that we
He wants to
actually
gentrify
allocated.
Fall River. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, you know, label it whatever you want. But I'll tell you this: if there's more money for police and firefighters, if there's more money to fix roads, if there's more money for drug treatment, if there's more money to clean the streets, I mean, you name it. If there's more money for X, Y, and Z, and the money isn't being allocated toward that, call it gentrification. Fine, great.
I actually completely disagree. I think that first, before the government asks for a single penny from anybody, they should actually be looking to be as efficient as possible. And if they're not, and if they're wasting a ton of money, then they shouldn't even be thinking about asking anybody for money.
Absolutely.
And also, if they're not expanding their tax base, like really good candidate Jordan Sylvia made mention to, if we're not bringing in people that can be productive and broaden our tax base, then we're morally corrupt. We're morally wrong. He's 100% right on that. We do not have an obligation to tax people just because we want more fire and police. We have an obligation to do right by the people first. And the first thing we need to do is to stop wasting money. And if we're wasting money and then asking for more, then we're wrong, Adam. And that's exactly why. That's exactly why they can't. That's exactly why they can't do it now, because we know for a fact. We know for a fact. No, we can't.
Be more efficient and raise taxes?
No, we can't. No. First one, then the other. That's how it should go. First one and the other, because what does the government have an obligation to? They don't have an obligation to tax first. They have an obligation to do right by the people first. So they can't. So they can't sit here and do that, and then all of a sudden turn around and waste a bunch of money. That's exactly what has been happening. They can't do that.
Well, that's why I think this 50% regime change is a huge step in the right direction. So then maybe once we start becoming more efficient, 2-3 years from now, then we can start thinking about, we pay the second lowest taxes in the whole state. And I mean, I don't think that's a good thing.
I don't even look at that as an issue, because when you look at the fees that have been put on the city, when you look at the unfunded mandates that's been put on the city, other cities don't have that dynamic. So we have to look at Fall River specifically. We also have one of the lowest incomes in the state. A lot of things we can't compare ourselves to places like Newton and all these other spots when we know for a fact that we're not even on the map as far as median income. Maybe there's some people doing better than others in Fall River, but overall, no, it's simply not that way. That's why you have Stephen Long talking about trying to do something about the housing problem, because he wants people in here that pay higher in taxes, so that way we can tax more. Fine.
Well,
they want to do that.
Know.
Hey, they want to do that. Carol Fiola, the same thing. They all want to do that. That's perfectly fine. What's their plan? They're going to throw a bunch of throw a bunch of fixed income people out of Fall River? Is that what they're going to plan on doing? Because that's what they're going to have to do. Either that, or they're going to have to look at the government and become more efficient. That's it. That's it.
All right. Last thing I'll say on this, and I realize that we agree to disagree, but I think we do agree on some part of it. That come
on over and we'll arm wrestle this month.
I have no problem doing it as long as the city is using that money efficiently, like you said. But we agree, disagree on that point. Last thing I'll say, and then I need to leave, and I know I've been on for a while. Jasiel, 23 years old. If you think about the last time the charter was rewritten and redone, 80-something years ago, 23 years old then was a full-blown adult, grown-up, which it is now. It's just that 23-year-olds now are a little immature and probably still,
they're taught to act that way
and stuff like that. But you
right.
can go to war for your country and die at 23. You can vote at 23. You can become a firefighter at 23. I could have 5 children and a mortgage by the time I'm 23. Right. So why people would even mention, and I hope that once you start to that stigma of the 23-year-old thing will be washed away. But why would people even attempt to bring that up?
Hey,
because
Adam,
them themselves, when they were 23, weren't as efficient and as mature as he is.
Because he has a pretty strong coat of armor, and the only chink in it was his age. That's really
right.
it. But hey, I wanna let you know something. Derek came up with a really good idea for you personally to advocate. I think you should put signs together. I think you should go out there and get petitions signed.
Get ready.
Get like a 75% meat tax, right? Anyone who's eating meat out there, right?
Yeah, like the cigarette tax.
Yeah, get the petition signed, and I'm sure you and Vivian will have 2 signatures right there. And maybe that'll probably be all of it. But I think if you want to tax people, I think that's the direction you could go. Maybe even a cheese tax. Actually, cheese tax has a catchier tune to it, so maybe that's what you can do.
Just remember this, and all jokes aside,
Yes.
it's bad for us, it's bad for them, and it's bad for the environment. Those are just the facts.
I love Adam.
Yeah, we love
Great
you
job,
too, buddy.
Steve.
Adam,
Love you guys. Later.
See you, buddy. I'm putting the phone down.
I love Adam. He's such a great call. And let me just say that since he has called and talked about his vegan restaurant idea, I think about it quite a bit. I am not vegan. I'm actually not a great vegetable lover. I'm more of the meat eater. Sorry, Adam.
Well, you're getting taxed.
But I think it would be a great idea because I do know a lot of vegetarians. I know a lot of vegans. So I think that would be great for him. For
Fantastic.
this city.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
So we were going into, I mean, he's a big time lefty. So he has this mentality of tax high, because that'll filter out the bad ones. I'm kind of like, come on, man. There are hardworking people in there that can't afford more, and we need to look at the dynamic again of Fall River. And I just, I said it to Adam earlier, but I like to reiterate it because I've had this conversation. We've had this conversation with people many, many times. Every city has its own little dynamic, and then some of the things about Fall River that is unique is that we have a higher, we have to deal with a lot of fees and a lot of extra on top of just the regular taxation. We have a lot of unfunded mandates, and everything kind of throws in together because we've used the purple bags as a tax raise, like some of these other things. So you can't just look at the tax base and say it's low and that's it. You have to look at the whole scope. You have to look at the big picture.
The big picture, if you will.
So when you look at that, and also when you look at the fact that our median income is very low in comparison to the rest of the state, it's just unfair to compare us to other areas that have people that make a lot more money. You can't compare us to Fairhaven. You can't compare us to Newton, places like that. You just can't.
Well, these are places that don't have the high rate of opioid use that we have as well. These are places who don't have the housing, the public housing that we have in Fall River. That's why I really get really irritated when people try to compare Fall River with anybody else. Not for nothing, but when we grow up, don't our parents teach us not to be like everybody else? You're supposed to be an individual. You're supposed to set the tone. I want Fall River to set the tone for everybody else. I want other places to look at Fall River and say, wow, look at the high rate of opioid use. Look at the high rate of this, and still see how great they're doing. That's what we need. We don't need to say, well, let's go to this city and do what they're doing. Let's go to this city and do what they're doing. What about our own ideas?
It's true. We one of the things he talked about was the money thing about raising money, or we talked about raising money for running. I said that it was harder for someone not raising money than someone who is raising money. It is hard. I mean, if I had more money, then I don't know. I guess I could have had more signs and things like that, or commercials, but I chose not to take that route. And when you choose not to advertise WSAR style, all that stuff, I made it a point that it's possible to get in. No way, shape, or form did I say it was easier. You have to work harder when you're not doing that. You have to get out there in the street more than the person.
You have to make your face known.
Yes.
It's not about how much money you have per se.
It requires more effort.
Thank you. Okay.
Right.
That I'll get behind.
And I even said that to Cabaceres that day.
Okay, because I can't get behind the more money you have, the better shot it is to get elected. That might be the way it is at the moment. However, that's if that's what we're trying to change. And that's why I loved you, Jordan, Josh's campaign, Ed's campaign, without taking those donations, even though some of you did spend more money than others.
Right.
To me, when I look at, Josh for making his signs, those are his handprints on those signs. So to me, when I look at the amount of people who voted for him, I'm like, that's great. And that signifies the change that I want to see in Fall River, so that we don't have to have somebody needing to put their plaster their face all over a bus or have all these kinds of crazy jingles. Just a jingle doesn't mean you're going to be a good candidate.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I was happy to see that. So that I'll say congratulations to you guys for.
People, they like advertising. You know what I mean? We all love advertising. If a funny commercial comes on, we're talking about it for the rest of the next 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So advertising goes a long way. The signs obviously go a long way. So, if you have more money, the job is that you don't have to do as much work going out there and going door to door. Like, for example, the difference between door hangers and mailers, right? Mm-hmm. You pay that big money for the mailers. That saves you going, to a whole entire neighborhood and going door to door with your door hangers. But now you look at the other side of it. If you are going door to door with door hangers, you're very likely going to run into people that are cutting their lawns, that are checking out their mail or something like that. And then so there's advantages to both ends, but one clearly requires more effort than the other. That's just a simply matter of physics on that one.
The other piece of this puzzle is that you have the backing of unions and the endorsements of different groups of people. It's great to have a backing, I guess, but we just proved that the backing for mayor was completely irrelevant. The mayor had lots of backing from the Herald, backing from many unions, and he still did not get back in office. So, it's all a matter of what you do when you have the opportunity to do it. And apparently, even doesn't matter with how much backing you have. I mean, he could have had every union go with him, but I don't think he had the ability. I think there was just too much against him, and the people were really not wanting it. So, you can only do so much with what the opportunity you have. And Mike had a great point. When you have a debate and you show poorly in all three and do not seem like you have a grip on the ideal and the ideals and the problems that the city really has, and you have an opponent who does, you're going to go for the opponent. And I believe that's what happened. I mean,
I agree with that. I've been rewinding. I've been rewinding and watching the debates. So here's a little advice for the next time Sam Sutter is going to run for office. He is such a bad debater. And the reason for that is, I'm so serious, he's a bad debater. The reason for that is because he is a lawyer. So when he gets up to speak in court, nobody can speak at the same time. Okay, we have a phone call.
Talk Fall River.
Hey, Trout, how you doing? It's Noah.
Oh, big Noah. How you doing, buddy?
I'm hanging in. Yourself?
Hey, I'm very, very good. I mean, I know a lot of people have been coming up to me saying, I'm sorry, but I'm like, please stop saying I'm sorry. You know what I mean? We had a good run, and it was a good time for everybody. I think all the people that got involved. So I'm very grateful for everything.
You shouldn't feel bad at all. I mean, I think you did fantastic. I mean, you came within 200 votes. So Ray Mitchell, who has his own, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a way for him to campaign year round. He has a radio show like that, and, you didn't have the organization or the money that a lot of these people had. And I think that, my hat comes off to you, because I think you did something that a lot of people couldn't do. And I think Josh and Jordan, and I think all of you guys really deserve a lot of credit from everybody in the community. And hopefully you'll all run again.
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's only a couple of things I would have changed. I think early on, I would have tried to build, a team of, 30 people. I probably had a good team of about 10 to 15 people. You know what I mean? So you want to get that. You want to get more boots out there when I'm going door to door. You want, these guys have like the coalition of social justice. They got like hundreds of people helping them out, doing phone calls and crazy stuff like that. I don't think I'm ever going to get to that level, but I just would wanted to get more people out there with me. You know what I mean? So hopefully I can build a bigger team next time around if I do it.
Yeah, and I think running something and being as successful as you were, and again, as successful as other people were, I think that it shows, a real level of commitment on all of your part. But I also think it shows that there's a lot of people in this city that you guys don't know. I mean, you and I have never sat down and talked,
Absolutely,
but,
right.
It shows that a lot of people, I've never sat down with Josh, I've never sat down with Jordan or Scott, but it shows that there's a lot of people out there that your message resonates with, and I think that that's incredibly important moving forward. And like I said, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I think over time that I'm praying that all of you continue to run.
I wanted to also throw out there that as far as your contributions on online, you came in late in the game, but you shined. You definitely shined out there. Some of the comments and posts you made were humorous, but I think that your particular focus on our local AM radio dial was particularly valuable to a lot of people. I think you were able to peel back some of the layers. I mean, a lot of us saw the obviousness that they were going after Jasiel and promoting Sam Sutter, but I think you pulled back some of the other layers, the underlying microaggressions from Dr. Mike, for example, and things like that. I thought that was excellent, actually.
Well, thanks. And I mean, I'll be perfectly honest, and I've had a lot of people message me. I don't claim to be a saint. I mean, a lot of people make mistakes. A lot of people have, nobody's perfect. But I have mentioned things. I've been very honest with people. Basically, I met Rick Oliveira maybe, I think it was a year ago, August. A friend of mine had gotten hired to do sound for one of his talent shows. And he'd asked me to do some work with him as well, which I really wasn't interested in doing. But I went to a few of the talent shows just because I'd get out of work and my friend would call me and he'd pick me up. And we'd just go, I'd have a couple drinks and just hang out with him for the night. And so basically Rick eventually asked me to be a judge, and it was all fixed because he was trying to get these kids to play music with him. And I mean, it was, and then I ended up helping them with something, which was quite the experience. I just think it's incredibly hypocritical. I mean, this is a guy who came to my house, pulled out a bunch of drugs at the table, and he's sitting there, and this is the guy that's running a radio station. You know what I mean? And I can say this because it's true. It just happened at my house, and or that I went to a talent night, quote unquote talent night with at the piano bar, and he's running out to his car every 5 minutes to smoke. I mean, if you want to do that with your life, I mean, that's your business, but you don't do it, in my opinion, when you're running an activity for children. And that really kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But I was actually, I'm trying to think, it might have been when you guys were starting the recall. It was something, a friend of mine, the friend that I'm talking about, my friend Scott, was in the car with him and the phone was ringing and he was telling me all about it and everything was going on. But I think you have a lot of hypocrites over there. I mean, how can you put Wayne Rigo and Brian Bigelow on the show?
I thought they were beacons of credibility there, actually.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. All I hear about is if some CEO came to Fall River and saw this closed Facebook group, right, that it would be so bad for the city. And this is 30 loudmouths, and it's this and this and that. Now, I work for National Geographic. It's a big company. It's a well-known company. I can tell you that if the CEO from our company went and met with Richard Cavaceres, and he would take him down to the waterfront, and he said, we have a workforce that's ready to be trained. The one thing, a company coming in hears, we don't want to hear that. We have to put out money to train. We don't have to hear we have to do this or want to do that. It's just listening to those people. It's insane. And that was why it was so nice to listen to you and to Josh and to Jordan. I think you all have very unique skill sets that come through. And I think that if you got a compliment of people like that, it would be great. But just the being completely out of touch. I mean, it's mind blowing to me. Like, I mean, I sit there and listen. I mean, I'll put it out there right now. If you're poor right now and Sam Sutter was the mayor and you're poor when Will Flanagan's the mayor, Jasiel Correia, God bless him, he's not going to make you rich. Cliff Ponte is not going to go out and find you a job. It's just not going to happen. And the fact that these people, they say the same things over and over. But getting back to my point, they were saying how this Facebook page was so dangerous and so hateful and so racist. I mean, Rick said that just because I couldn't find an edition of a paper that he claimed to be an editor on, and
yeah,
he has an online resume that says he's a college student,
right?
And he's a graduate of human. It's like that stuff is to be ignored. So basically, if this person put the dial on the radio, turn the WSAR on when they're driving through the city, instead of joining a closed Facebook group, mind you, and they heard Brian Bigelow and Wayne Rigo and said, "Hey, this is a good show. I'm going to Google these guys and find out a little more about them."
Right.
I mean, come on. Even Sam Sutter. If Brian Bigelow wants to hold us, and I'm not just going to slam him, but I mean, if the guy wants to hold a sign for him, I mean, the guy has a past. He's got to expect people. You wonder what people are thinking.
Absolutely.
Like,
I mean, that's all we saw.
That kind of stuff.
That's all we
Yeah,
saw
I
on
mean, Wayne
Facebook
Rico's
after
gonna tell
he
us about
started
finances.
talking about people. You know, that's all we
Yeah,
saw
I
was
mean,
those articles and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Wayne Rigo's going to tell us what's wrong with the city finances. I mean, the guy stole $10,000 and went on vacation to Portugal. You know what I mean? That's good for the city, or this South Coast center that he had. I mean, it's a joke.
He called Jasiel a pathological liar.
Yeah, he does. He not only said that, he said that, and what was the other thing? He said, oh, the big question is what I'd ask if everybody happens to call his show today, if anyone wants something to ask him, I'm usually commuting home at that time. But one thing I'd like to know is they were really on Bill Rapley. I thought Bill Rapley did a fantastic debate.
Jim Rapley?
That's Rick Oliveira.
Oh, okay.
I think he grew up with Rick on the Indian reservation there. But one question that I would have, and this is a question for everybody at WSAR. I'd love to hear this take on this. Is Jasiel chose to walk away from a debate that he knew was going to be stacked against him.
Yes.
I mean, they all had pretty much said. I mean, you had the guy who owns the station on himself saying, "Don't take calls from the kid." Blah blah blah. We all heard it. That we were he's set and his daughter's set and his grandchildren are set. I would say this. I mean, after this election, are they relevant politically to anybody? Because I mean, if you look at it, they were very against Jasiel Correia. Jasiel won without doing their debate. So the question that I have, and the question I'd like to have an answer to, is should anybody do a debate with them? Because it didn't hurt. Obviously, didn't hurt Jasiel any.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they would have had a debate with an empty chair and Sam Sutter was there, would it have helped Sam Sutter? I mean, I don't know. But the fact that there was no debate had zero bearing on the election. One could even argue that by not attending the debate, it was beneficial to the candidate who chose not to attend.
I think in general, if you really just lay it all out in general, it's going to be beneficial to any candidate to avoid doing any kind of interaction with an agency or a company that is out to vilify you, period, in general.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're seeing it now on a national level with, the Republicans, and I think it was CNBC or something, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. I mean, why do you want to do that? And I hope Jasiel thinks long and hard now that he's mayor about, now they're complaining, or somebody I know said they wanted to see him once a week on there or something like that. If I were him, I'd look into a lot of the other media outlets like yourself, like the TV station, things like that, because, to WSAR's credit, I will say at least they put out where they stood and they stood by it. But I mean, it's disingenuous at best to listen to them now, to hear Wayne say, "Oh, well, I love Jasiel's ideas," or this Dr. Mike character. I mean, Jesus, where did he get his PhD for buying 10 steak dinners at VK's? I'm not sure, It's, I've never, like the guy, I mean, I'm sure he has a PhD. I'm not going to say he's not.
You have a talent for figuring out different ways to promote a steak dinner more than anybody I've ever met in my life.
Yes.
Maybe you'll give me a job.
I think that you have a future in advertising. There's definitely no doubt about that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I do have to go. I have a meeting I have to get to, but I did want to call because I know you and I have spoken. And Nikki's there with you too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Nikki and I went. I don't know if she remembers. When I saw her name, I think I had like a geography class with her or something when I was in high school.
We went to middle school together too, my friend.
We did?
Henry Lord, right?
No, I went to Morin.
Oh, you did? So it was just high school then?
I think I had a class. I can't remember the guy's name, but I vaguely remember. I know who you are. I just but you did a great job too, Nikki. And I'm sorry, I should have realized you were there sooner. I'm just looking at my computer. I don't have the feed up.
Oh, that's all right.
The debates were great, and again, I appreciate everything you're doing. I mean, I'm just a guy. I have no political aspiration whatsoever, but I do.
Me neither.
I wish you did. But I really have appreciated all the friends I've made through the website, and I really enjoy talking to you guys too. So I'll be seeing you, I'm sure.
Well, thanks a bunch. I actually was just telling Trot and Derek when we first got here that I went to school with you, and I'm like, where was this Noah when I was in high school? I love everything you post. It's fantastic.
Oh, thanks. Well, take care, everyone, and God bless. I'll talk to you all soon.
You too, hon.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Wow, another disrespectful, racist poster from Throwing
He's
Florida
such
called
a
us again.
thug. He's such a thug.
These disrespectful people who post on social media, my goodness. So he told us a little interesting information.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was great.
So what was the most interesting thing that he might happen to mention just now?
Well, we're all thinking it. Should we all say it at the same time?
Big white elephant in the room.
A white.
Rick Oliveira has a habit, everybody, as far as we were heard from Noah. So
Allegedly. He
allegedly has a bad habit. So I figure these are the people that are in charge of the only media outlet that Fall River has right now.
Magic squirrel.
The more layers we peel, the more we seem to get revealed to us.
Wow.
Yeah, big time. So there you go. Puff the Magic Dragon.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I want to go back to what I was saying before Noah called in, or are we gonna?
You can do that, Nikki.
It was about Sutter being a bad debater, and why he's a bad debater, in my opinion, because he's a lawyer, and when he's used to speaking, he's used to everyone being so quiet, nobody can speak. And as a lawyer, if somebody does speak out, usually that person's shot down by the judge, or there's something crazy that happens. Are you giving me a check mark?
No.
Okay.
He's chuckling in the corner.
I know,
Man.
it's awful.
I wanted to know why, but now I got it.
Yeah, I got it with the first time I said it. But so that's what he's used to. So I think anytime he's debated, all anybody has to do is say something when he's speaking. And he will be completely thrown off, completely rattled, because the lawyer in him is used to everybody stopping. You could hear a pin drop when he speaks. Not that way during a political debate, my friend. So that was just my observation as to why he isn't so great when it comes to the debates.
He's not used to being challenged. I don't think he's been challenged, like really challenged, head-to-head battle in a very long time in his political career. I think he's used to just cruising right through. Everybody loves him, and that's it. I mean, he won the DA's office pretty handedly. Nobody really.
He was DA for 8 years. Did you know that?
I did know that, and if I didn't know that, I know that now. But he consistently, was able to just win and win and win, and he's surrounded himself with a bunch of people who told him how great he was. If they weren't saying it in Fall River, he would pull people from out of town to tell him how great he was doing. We saw people from out of town on his side in the debates cheering, and
they're still there on social media insulting Fall River residents, which I find to be crazy. If you're trying to be the mayor of the city in Fall River, tell your friends it's probably best not to insult the residents of Fall River when you're looking to get their vote. That's just my opinion, but hey.
What do you know? Yeah,
I'm only a resident of Fall River who votes.
So getting back to the politics here, I'm actually very hopeful. People have been asking me already, "You gonna run? You gonna run?" Here's my philosophy on this. Let's see what they can do. Right? I only ran because I felt there was problems that need to be fixed in Fall River, and if the problems are still persistent, then you may see my name out there. But really, I'm really hopeful about what the mayor seat looks like right now. It's the first time in a long time. I think a lot of people are happy about what's going on with the mayor situation. I also think that you have a school committee situation there.
We need to spend a little bit of time on this school committee thing.
It's about to.
Okay.
But
because we've been alluding to it, and I'm like, I want to.
I'm very, very happy about the way the school committee got set up, because I really think Paul Coogan is who blew away everybody with the most votes. And I had a feeling he was gonna do that. He ends up being, in my opinion, he talked to me personally and he said, "You know what, we want to make some changes in the school department." That's what he said to me when we were playing wiffle ball, when we were getting our butts kicked by Adam in wiffle ball. Also, Edward Costar, of course.
Let's give our props to we need to do that. Like, that's what I want to. Sorry, but
I got you, Nikki.
It's a big deal.
So. We all love Edward Costar. He's a co-host here. And I think that he looks out for kids as much as anybody I've ever seen in the school department. So I know for a fact, I have full confidence in him that he's going to go out there and fight for everything he can for the kids out there in school committee. He's in the spot he needs to be in. And honestly, the only member of the school committee with a PhD.
Right.
The only one. So you really think about the direction we can head with that.
That's including the superintendent. By the way.
Right.
Also, we have a majority vote now, I believe. If Coogan, the mayor, who's a chair on a committee, we got excellent guy named Gabe Andrade out there, and Edward Costa. I think you may have a majority vote there.
I believe I want to also throw out Joe Martin's name because I actually.
Oh, and Joe Martin's, you're right.
Yep. Nikki looks like.
I love Joe too.
Okay,
I always have that. I'm a parent, so.
I thought you were going to disagree with me, but I think
No, not at all.
I thought Joe was one of the very, very like he was really realistic on getting things. The one thing that I found with him that I felt really bad that the school committee didn't back him up with was there was and I hope I remember this. There was a expenditure last year for a training that was, I think, it was a good chunk amount of money. It was in the thousands of dollars, and he wanted to put in a motion to have a report written based on that. So if this thing came around next year, if it was worth it. And to me, if you're going to spend
any money,
a substantial amount of money in the thousands of dollars, you would want to have some sort of report telling us, hey, wait a minute, this was worth it, or no, it wasn't. The only two people that voted for that report were Joe Martin and Gabe Andrade. The rest of them completely said, no, we're just going to spend money.
Just the letter alone, like when we said there may be a majority now. That letter that BK sent around, that Bob Karam sent around a few weeks ago, rather, asking people to vote for his daughter, Mott Coster, Bob Maynard, and who was the other one?
Paul Hart.
Paul Hart. That, I think, totally put a big chink, or whatever you want to call it, clink in their chain. That is horrible. That when he said that they have the majority and they are always for the superintendent, that right there kind of did them in.
Nothing but shenanigans from WSAR this whole entire campaign process. How can they deny that? Come on.
Besides, I mean, I understand the point of the school committee is to work with the superintendent, but when the superintendent doesn't seem to understand I don't think she really gets the whole point of what raising the educational bar is. I just think she had 4 or 5 people behind her. She had 4 people behind her plus the mayor, who was just willing to let her get away with whatever she wanted. I mean, now we have good checks and balances in place, and that will be able to call her out on things. And I have a feeling that a lot of the members that are left high and dry, and I don't want to mention names, I'm not going to throw them out there, but I think they're really going to start looking at what can they really do? I mean, there's no protection for this superintendent. That now, my biggest concern right now is they have her contract negotiations coming up. I would not be a fan if the contract was renewed prior to the new school committee coming in, even though I think it's going to happen.
It is going to happen. I've already gotten word that it's going to happen.
Now, I'll be very interested to see what's going to happen with pay, because remember, she's getting paid based on the fact that she has a PhD. She does not have a PhD. There is no aspirations for her to get a PhD. So should she be docked pay for that? Yes, I believe she should.
The taxpayers should get their money back.
Right. If they don't get their money back, she should be doing the job at a considerably lower rate for at least the year to compensate for that monetary gain that she made, saying that she was going to get that PhD. If she cannot accept that, then best to you in your future endeavors, and let's find someone that's willing to get the job done. And Jasiel made it very clear. He is all up for making sure he gets the best people in the positions that really matter and getting things done. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in 2 months. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen throughout his first 100 days. I just want to see what he can do to bring this city forward. And if he can't do that, he will be held accountable just like everyone else. just like Flanagan, just like Sutter. I mean,
Oh, I'm not going anywhere. So there's things that need to be done. And there's a difference between, like, there was an article in the Herald News either yesterday or the night before where somebody had said they think Sutter gave too much. He was too transparent. He wasn't transparent enough. For somebody to say they think he's too transparent tells me they're on his team. Because as a resident of the city of Fall River, I'm not even a property owner, and I know more about the things that are going on than the mayor did. So when a resident is bringing to the attention of the mayor that an enterprise fund is charging city departments, whether that's illegal or legal, one enterprise fund is, the other one isn't. So something is wrong. And when that doesn't get looked into, that's not transparency. That's somebody who doesn't know what they're doing.
Or I'm gonna play the other side of the argument. They do know what they're doing, and they just don't want to acknowledge it.
And they don't care enough. That's scary.
Well, not the fact they don't care. The fact that there is some sort of benefit happening on the opposite side, and that is just as scary as what you just said.
Very.
So who do you think is going to be out there for the new positions? Do you feel as though Ken Pacheco, John Nunes, Joe Macy? What do you feel about all this in about 6 months, or not even 6 months, like 3 months from now?
I'm passing the mic to Nikki because she just seems like she wants to like explode.
I think Kadima is going to come in guns a-blazing. I think there are people who need to be held accountable for certain things happening. And I look very forward to seeing who is held accountable for their actions, their lies, their manipulations, that kind of thing. There's quite a few.
I want to see people get held accountable for not holding others accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Mitchell, city council meeting a couple weeks ago, completely, and we talked about this before, and ad nauseum, completely took Ken Pacheco off the hook. This is important information right now, because if they were to try to enforce this trash fee, which they can't.
Yep.
But if let's just say that they did, and they only started enforcing it in FY16, they made it a point to say in FY15 they didn't. Who told you not to? That's stuff that you may have collected on if no one made us think about it. I wonder who made us think about the collection.
I'm hoping that they keep Gary Howiak in the office.
Me
there.
too.
He does the mundane corporation council stuff. You didn't hear much from the corporation council until you had lawyers as mayors, right? Right. Before that, it wasn't on the forefront, on the front page so much. They just took care of some of the back door and all the underground stuff that happens within City Hall, whatever. All this other stuff that's been going on with the trash fees and everything else come to the forefront. Now all of a sudden, corporation council is coming out.
Yeah, you look at the corporation councils of the past. You have Macy right now. I'm sorry, yeah, I got to bring up Macy right now. You had Howiak interim. You had Liz Souza, and before that,
Steve Torres.
Before that was that.
Yeah, Thomas something.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Something Thomas.
But anytime we, as we start going further back, now we're looking at mayors that were not.
Well, because we really didn't have a dedicated corporation council. What they did was they went out and they paid people to do things when we needed them, which they're still doing even with a corporation council.
Exactly.
But whatever.
Was it over $200,000 even with a corporation council?
Mm-hmm.
I think that once we started getting our mayor involved with using the corporation council to start going around the city council, that's when you started to see more corporation council activity. So I think now that we have a current mayor in office that actually I believe is going to utilize the process the way it's supposed to be utilizing, talking to the city council, respecting their opinions and their vote, instead of using corporation council and the charter to try to get around people. I think you're going to see this corporation council on the spotlight situation move back a little bit more.
I agree. I mean, you know, I can think you just said it. I don't think I can add much more to it. Yeah.
Maybe we're putting a lot of high hopes on Jasiel. Maybe, you know, we don't 100% know what we're going to have in him, but I know that we're going to have better than what we had with Sutter. I have a feeling we're going to do better than what we had with Flanagan. You know, Flanagan was pretty good in the beginning. People actually really liked him his first term. Maybe we get back to something like that where we have a mayor that's not only actively involved in the community, but coming up with some good ideas with a good team around them to get things done. He said he's going to have the best team Fall River can get. That's what he said at Jerry Remy's in the interview.
Everybody always, to be fair, everybody coming who does get elected as mayor always says they're going to bring the best team forward. What I can say about Jasiel, I was discussing this with my brother last night, is that what separates him from other candidates, for me personally, is the fact that he stands up for himself. Going way back to when everything first started, I will hold my conversation for this caller. We have a caller, folks.
Hello, Rick.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you, and ladies?
Hey, Rick, I just wanted to say thank you, man. You gave me a hug and you were in tears because I didn't win, which I thought was hilarious. But I want you to know, thank you very much for everything you did, bro. Everything, okay?
I'm very proud of you, TJ. You showed that you can run a Class A campaign with little money, no advertising, but you worked very hard, and you made a 10th place. I mean,
those 10 to 15. Those 10
got a nice place, but
hey, those 10 to 15 people that helped me out too, they deserve a lot of credit as well.
Yeah, they do. Round of applause.
Yes, absolutely. I would clap if I could. But yeah, they deserve a ton of credit, and you're one of those people. So just give yourself a pat on the back as well. But yeah, man, how do you feel? How do you feel so far now? Do you feel like there's no more Leo now? There's no more Pat Casey. There's no more Dan Rigo. So how do you feel about the fact that we were instrumental in pushing some incumbents out of there?
Well, Wednesday morning I woke up with a big smile on my face. I feel that the people of Fall River are finally taking back their city. I mean, yeah, I was stuck with 4 still, but I mean, look what we did. 5 new councilors, 2 new school committee people, a brand new mayor. I think it's something that we the people should be very proud of. We're taking back our city.
So what do you think is going to happen now in the future? What are some of the short-term, long-term improvements that you see happening with a new council, pretty much almost a brand new council, and a new mayor, and you got some really nice additions to the school committee, I think. So what do you think is going to happen now for Fall River's future?
Well, I think hopefully, I think it's going to move a lot better, much forward now. I think they're going to have more people who are going to come together and really work together. So
I'm expecting I'm expecting the mayor to work with the city council. I think that bond between the mayor and city council, I think, is going to come back to being strong again. I think that Jasiel, being a former city councilor, knows the situation that these guys are in, understands the situation they're in. He's worked with these people for just about 2 years now, has a good relationship with the president. I do see potential for a strong mayor and council to get together on this, except for maybe Linda Pereira. That's the only one I can think of.
The good thing is you don't get the majority of the council to bring down the new councilors. Now you have 5 new councilors, and there's your majority of your votes right there. I mean, you can come to a 5-4. You have 5 new councilors working with a brand new mayor.
As long as the mayor has good ideas and pushes forward, good policies too. We still have to remember that.
I mean,
let's not forget the charter.
Meetings and stuff like that, and listening to him.
Because that
sounds like he's got a lot of good ideas, and I hope he can come to fruition these ideas. I mean, he started working yesterday. He was out there, working bright and early. He was out getting the job done already. And he's not even the real, he's mayor elected. I mean, he's not actually the mayor yet, but it's just nice that he's out there working already. And the good thing is now he can pick his own city administrator because at the end their contract is up. I'd like to see Mike Mayoza as a city administrator. I don't know if he can because he's going to be on a city charter.
It shouldn't make a difference.
I have a feeling that Mike Mayoza is going to be doing something very different from city administrator. Very different. I have a
But
gut
that's why
feeling.
but I think you would make a great city administrator.
I think we're going to need somebody with I mean, actually Mike has business management background, but I'd like to see, we appeared to be at our finest when Sean Kadim was early on before all the muck came in, when he was the administrator. So maybe we need to get somebody that has a financial background, a legitimate financial background, education and the whole 9 yards. Who? Yeah, you don't even start. Don't even start with me, Rick. I'll go to your house right now. I will knock down everything in your home. Don't even start.
You can still get a pull about Sam's ass, but.
All right, so we lost Derek Morgado for a minute, but
I think Jasiel should actually. I mean, I'm not just saying this because I like Nikki. I think she's a real great person, but Nikki, it's true. I think that that the mayor should actually sit down with you and work together with you because you do so much research on this trash issue that I think it's something that we could probably resolve because all the research you do and the dedication you have into it is just unbelievable.
Nikki would be a great sanitation department advisory board member. Oh, she could be the new head of the task force. I'd love that.
Oh, trash tastic.
Well,
Yes.
So totally dress
She'd
up.
walk in with a flag.
No, I'd have a purple bag as a cape. No joke.
There you
That would
go.
literally, I would. honest to God. I would have one of those
How he
sticks
wants
with
to
the
do things,
nail on
I
the
think
end of
is
it. Like that.
great. How he wants to, come to these departments and see what their needs are and everything else, and then get to the bottom of stuff. And if your department heads don't want to do it his way, then okay, see you later. You're done. But hopefully, what I'm hoping now with Joint Team in there, the city council and Jasiel in there, hopefully now we can get to the bottom of these windows. Hopefully he can pull, Ken Pacheco to the side and say, listen, I know you know what's going on with these windows. You can't tell me you don't know what's going on with these windows. You have your ears and eyes on everything, and you have 2 building inspectors in and out of that building every single day, and they don't know nothing about the windows. Between them 2 or 3 guys, somebody knows something about the windows. And Sean knows
Sir,
about what's going on too.
Sir, I'll have you know, sir, that William Flanagan did have an investigative team look into those windows. Kathy Ann Viveris walked around the entire city hall asking everybody about the process, sir. Okay?
So they know nothing. Oh, so
I'll have you know.
It's all set then.
There you go. There you go. They investigated themselves and they found themselves not guilty. Okay?
Oh, then that's it.
That's it.
Case closed.
There you go. I don't know why we're talking about this.
I didn't know that Flanagan had an investigation going on.
Well, Kathy Ann Viveris went around and asked everybody what happened. And they all told her the same thing. Huh? And that was it. That's the investigation.
I didn't see nothing.
I see nothing.
I know.
I can't be more happy with with a lot of you guys. With you, Josh, Scott, Jordan. I mean, you guys. I mean, especially you. I mean, you work very, very hard. You're out there like almost every day, holding signs. Door knocking. I just wish I could have did a lot more for you. But
well, there'll be 2017.
That sign was epic.
Yeah, you
by
did
the
awesome.
way.
I don't want anyone. I don't want anyone that helped me to feel like they could have done more because I think everyone did what they could. So I'm perfectly fine with everything, man. Like I'm good. I want more. Like I want to get more people involved if I do it the next time. I want to add, the to the good 10 to 15 people I had. I want to add another 10, 15 more, and you know what I mean. Get that same push. Then we'll be on our way. Something. You know what I mean. We won't have to worry about ninth place. We'll be already in.
Too many friends running at the same time. You, Josh, Jordan, and Scott.
Yeah, all our friends got spread thin.
Everybody was trying to run at the same time, but you can't spread yourself out to try to help every single person. I mean, I know some people did. I mean, you have Norbert out there trying to help everybody out.
Norbert is a campaign fanatic.
Jackie out there all the time, and Bob out there all the time. It's just amazing what some of these people get out there to help out some of these candidates out there.
I agree.
I think next year, 2017, I think you got a good shot. We got to get those all 4 out of there.
You know, I told people that I'm not looking to be a career politician, so we'll see how the council performs. You know, if the council does good, then we'll see what happens. I said Korea. Did I say career politician? I'm not trying to become a Korean politician, okay?
Well, you know what I love too? It's Maya Correia.
Does a good job. I don't think you'll have a problem running next year. I mean, in 2017, I don't think you'll have a problem running. Anybody running against him, he'll have a tough time running.
Well, we'll know by 2016 if I'm going to do it. I talked to somebody actually who has a lot of experience doing campaigns and being a campaign manager, came up to me yesterday and said if I do plan on running, they'd like to take over with me. So if I take that on, that they're gonna be the first person to know. Everyone else is gonna know, and hopefully we can put together a nice team. They know I'm not taking donations, so they already know that. But hopefully we can put together a good team, and then we'll see what happens from there. So we got to.
How much deal?
Huh?
How much deal spent? I only spent $30,000, or if you only spent like $29,995, something like that.
Leo spent $29,000.
No, I'm just wondering how much you spent. You spend that $30,000, or though you spend only like $29,995.
I can't believe it. He had about 4,200 to 4,500 votes, right? So to spend that much money for 4,000
is ridiculous.
That's unbelievable, man.
I'd like to know how much you spent. When will all the reports be out?
They'll all be out. They'll say I know that I spent just about 31, maybe between 29 and 31. I don't know exact number, but just about that. Yeah, 100, not 1,000. If I had that kind of money, I would every homeless person in Fall River would have been fed. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to want to deal with that kind of situation. I think Bob Correia said it on because somebody told me this. I wasn't listening to WSAR, but somebody told me that Bob Correia said that people like myself used not raising money as an excuse because we couldn't raise that kind of money. I think Bob Correia is actually right, but not in the way that he thinks. Mentally, psychologically, I would feel guilty taking people's money, that much money like that. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want anything like that because it's just, to me, I don't need it. You know what I mean? We have opportunities if we put the effort forward to do it without money. So I'd rather not. I'd rather not at all. And hopefully, hopefully we push it. If we do it 2017, we do it the same way, just add another 10 to 15 people on top of it, and really get boots to the ground, go door to door, and get people involved. So
I think you should have taken at least $3,000 and put it towards hurricane radio.
Yeah, you know what? That's about the amount of money I spent on my campaign. Sam Sutter gave to Mike Herron, which is amazing, actually.
Yeah, look what it did for Will Flanagan and Mike Herron, Sam Sutter, hurricane radio.
Absolutely amazing, amazing. All the fake profiles, they kind of disappeared.
And how much money on Wilton Forward was spent?
Yeah, between me, Jordan, Josh, and Scott, I'd say about 3,000 because I did spend about 3,000. That's about it.
No, I'm saying how much money did Jordan get paid to advertise on Wilton River?
Zero.
Right? Look what it did.
Jordan got a lot of advertising from WSAR, from the Herald News. He got plenty.
Really
Actually, yeah.
What's
Nikki,
up?
hey, Nikki just made a point. Nikki made a point, and I think I'm going to add on to her point. I think Jordan got more advertising than anybody else on WSAR,
right.
And he didn't spend $1.
And they didn't make a penny off of Jordan.
Because they kept saying his name.
You know? So.
But I mean, look what Pat Casey felt. What's in that Volkswagen?
Hey, did you happen to listen to Noah's phone call today?
No, I missed it.
He talked about Rick Oliveira having a little bit of a habit. I was like, whoa, got blown away by that story. Rick Oliveira, you have an opportunity to call in if you want to clear your name. Everyone has an opportunity to call in and tell the other side of the story. The number is 774-955-0533. Go for it.
That's the first time we said the number today.
Do you think he really listens?
Yeah. I'm just so happy, that we got a mayor. I think now that the recall was a complete success, because everybody, you guys all worked hard on the recall to get the old mayor out, and this time here, Everybody worked hard to get the new mayor in.
Sorry, get off the phone.
So,
All right, my buddy.
people, you know, they've been saying, well, it's your fault. You guys elected Sam. Now you guys want him out. That's not true. People didn't elect Sam. Sam only got 30% of the vote.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it, he only got 18% more votes than he did the first time. So the people still did not elect him.
Right on.
I got a message from one of the candidates, one of the elected city councilors, asking me how could I have spent $3,000? I spent a lot of it in the initial report. You'll see if you look into the folders, you'll see that about $2,600 or so was in the initial report. Everything was reported into Rockland Trust, so that's that.
Well, you didn't spend all this money like some people did with
Oh no, it was actually not. I got the message wrong.
You know, that's expensive. You know, you didn't spend all this money with all these parties.
It was one of her campaign friends.
You bought signs. That's it. A lot of signs.
That's it.
You know, you were responsible with your money. And that's the same thing with Sam and with Jasiel. I mean, look at the money that Sam spent compared to the money that Jasiel spent in the first part of the election. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I can imagine how much money Sam spent altogether and where he is now. And like Derek was saying, all these endorsements that he got.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, the Herald News, I think that one killed him itself. I mean, people know if they follow the politics, they know that the first round that the budget came out, it had less than 175 firefighters. So Sam was not going to bring our firefighters up to 175. He was going to cut our firefighters. Not lay anybody off, because that's what he said. It's true, because guys were retiring. Net school spending still was not met.
Right.
And they said that he met net school spending. But I feel sorry for some of these businesses who backed them up. That hopefully that, you know, they don't lose business where people are like, I ain't going to do business with that guy, you know? So.
Yep. Initial report isn't itemized. The initial report is put in. No, I got somebody inboxing me. The initial report is not computerized, so I had to do it by paper. So I filled it all out by hand and faxed it to OCPF.
The old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned way with a pen and paper, everybody.
When it probably sits on somebody's desk.
Oh, no, it's actually in there. If you actually look in the
Alright.
data, the reports are in there. So it's just not computerized. Yeah, but hey, Rick.
Good work.
Yep.
And Nikki, you know, I think it's all Nikki's fault because she brought up the trash thing with the enterprise account, and I think that's what killed him. Nikki, you made Sam lose his job with the trash thing.
I will gladly take responsibility for that.
Well, you think now he'll find out what that enterprise account is?
Hopefully they squash it.
Now maybe he'll find out. Well, maybe I should have put that into the enterprise account, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, he blames it on $10 fee. I mean, that might have been part of it, but I think it was a lot more than that. I think it was all you know, everything else going on in the city. You know, with hiring all his buddies. You know, just completely lying about the shortfall, which we all know it wasn't a $6 million shortfall. It was only like a $3 million shortfall because they got $3.9 million back.
Oh, man, I love this. This is awesome.
This is awesome.
I'm out of here.
All right, my
Have a good
friend.
day. See ya.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, man. I hope there's a full-blown investigation, Derek.
Yeah, I do.
I want senators involved.
Senators.
I
want the president.
I want
to be
everybody
involved.
I was just gonna say that, but I was hoping one of you would say it first.
I want the leaders of the
Yes.
UN involved. I want the United Nations in on this. I want this to be international.
International. All right, so you were
Man of
saying
mystery.
before we got
Sorry.
the phone call from the wonderful Rick Barlow, you were saying something about Jasiel stood up for himself.
Well, he stands up for himself. And the reason that I say that is because when the whole pay as you throw shenanigans first begun, as much as he did like pay as you throw, the whole thing, every single time I've seen him get in front of like the ordinance committee, or they go to pass an ordinance regarding with the pay as you throw thing, like he's the only one who asks questions. You sure you want to put this up to full council? Because I think that we have a few other questions we need to take care of first. Mm-hmm. And nobody ever paid attention. Nobody ever paid any mind to him. So as much as people say Oh, he's 23. He's 23. He's the only counselor, aside from Mioza, that I have seen literally ask questions, and good questions at that. Like, he's not saying, oh, I'll let you slide, I'll just let that off the hook. He's saying, no, really? Like, you really mean this? With the meeting, the last city council meeting, with the fire chief. Fire chief has been down there saying, we need the trucks, we need the trucks, we need the equipment, we need the equipment. And then at the last meeting, he's saying, I can wait another 2 years for the equipment. What the hell is going on? Nobody else really said anything, but Jasiel said, so you're telling me you're perfectly comfortable with only getting 1 truck, even though you said we needed 6. So for those things, that's where I look at Jasiel. I might not agree with him, but he's the only one asking questions. How can we find out about an entire program if nobody asks questions? Like, the reason people don't know about pay as you throw or the $10 fee, nobody goes into detail about it. They just say, we're going to pass the fee and that's it. Oh, well, the generator, Linda making such a big stink with the pay as you throw ordinance about the generator of the trash. We only want the generator of the trash to be responsible for a fine if there's a fine. But then she went and passed a $10 monthly per unit fee, ultimately making the landlord responsible for their tenant's trash. So when I see all of those, and I see Jasiel's the only one who says, you know what, I do like pay as you throw, but I'm smart. I'm smart enough to realize maybe it doesn't work in a city setting. Rather than saying, oh no, pay as you throw, it does increase recycling. That's what pay as you throw does. It increased recycling.
They found a way to increase recycling. They found a nice way to increase recycling.
Did you see the photographs that I have of that?
I
photographic evidence.
I was at the Doolin Apartments. We actually observed the barrels out there ourselves. There was a Cleanway, dumpster
Mhm.
with city-owned recycling barrels around it.
Yep. I could not believe how many. And actually, when I first heard that there were recycling bins, I thought maybe there would be like a few of them. I could not believe how many recycling bins were loaded throughout this one little tiny complex. So again, when Sutter says we only have 4 sanitation contracts, and he was pretty clear about only having
Be a paragraph.
4 sanitation contracts. Where did this contract with housing come from? We've never heard about a contract with housing. And in fact, housing has their own contracts. So I say, why is it okay for taxpayers to foot the bill for housing properties to receive recycling?
Hi, Andrew. How you doing, sir? We got a phone call here. Hello?
Hey, what's going on, Charles? How's everybody doing over there?
Very good, my man. How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Still continuing my party on this election.
I hear you, man. So we're looking at a new mayor, a pretty much brand new city council almost, and some new additions to the school committee. What do you think of Florida's future right now?
Well, let's take this back about maybe a year and a half ago and start from the beginning. When Sutter was elected in a recall, the first thing we got to realize is he never had a majority vote. Okay? That vote was split between 5, 6, 7 candidates. So going into this past election, on Tuesday, he would actually have to gain an exponential amount of votes just to get to that 50%. What it did was all the voters that voted for Mike Mioza, Sean Kadeen, and everybody else, that all pretty much went to Jasiel. And so you could see in the city, weren't too happy with him to begin with. That's my first take on that. In terms of city council, what I see is a lot of guys with a lot of ambition in there. There are guys that want to go in there and tear things apart. Everybody wants to prove their worth. Because the climate in the city being as volatile as it is, they all know you got 2 years. That's it. You can't produce, you're done. Your political career in this city is over. So you're going to see a lot of action coming in. In terms of school committee, I like what I see. There's some very bright individuals there. And charter commission, that's the one that worries me the most because I don't know if there's enough of a mindset there to actually make some logical and reasonable changes to the charter. That's my take on it right now.
I think I think we have some, obviously Mayoza taking over as the charter commission head. That's going to be really good. I think that we have enough people. Brenda Venice is another person that I was able to meet. One person I did vote for that didn't get in was Ron Roberts, unfortunately. I felt that he could make some contributions to that as well, but he didn't get in. But there are a few people in there that I ran that I have some trust in, and I think they're going to do some good work. So, but it's
I like Dave. I like Dave Assad myself.
Yeah, Dave Assad is very good. Yeah,
very intelligent man.
He's a smart guy too. Very smart guy.
I'm just more worried. It's not just the intellectual part of it. It's how they're going to work when they start figuring things out. How are they going to play these things out? Is it going to be politically motivated on some aspects of it? Will they introduce term limits? Are they going to give the city council more power? What kind of power are they going to give them? Things like that concern me.
Yeah, we're gonna end up seeing soon down the road how about like where's the direction that Jasiel is going to go? Is he going to keep some of these people in that we've been critical of? Ken Fiola, Ken Pacheco.
Ken Fiola isn't really Jasiel's call for the most part. That's a state position.
But we're gonna see if we're gonna see if he's gonna, because he's talked about it to us, trying to get another. I'm sorry, say it again.
I would like to see the complete house clean.
I mean, I would love to see him do that. But he talked about getting agency in here that can do economic development. So he's either gonna not work with Fiola, or he's gonna try to work in contrast to him on some kind of capacity. I'd like to see the steps he takes in that in economic development and where he sees Fiola's role in all this. Also, you got John Nunes. You're going to have a new administrator. Nobody really knows what's going to happen with that. The administrator piece could be somebody way out of the blue that we never even had on the radar, or it could end up being somebody that we do know. A lot of people keep on throwing Sean Kadim's name out there, but I don't think his name can be out there if he's out there. You know what I mean? Like if he's out there and in Seekonk. I'm not sure he can actually take over for Fall River as a city administrator. I'm about 100% sure of that. So a lot of changes would have to be.
Go ahead.
He's talking to you.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
I don't think you will see Sean Kadim's name tied into another administration ever again. I think if he goes and takes the reins on anything, it's going to be if he wants to become mayor. I think that's the only way you're going to see him inside of City Hall running anything.
I hear you.
I think he took a pretty good whack working on the Flanagan, and I think he learned his lesson with that one. I don't think he'll make that mistake twice.
That's why I've been like, I haven't really figured that would happen. So I figure everyone in the council is going to stay there. Pretty sure of that. So really, I'm very interested in seeing who the new administrator is going to be.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of all this now. You had an election where, now everything's up in the air. So it's almost like you can start the renaissance of Fall River, right? So you got a young guy in there, some people bash him for age, some people bash him for this, for that, whatever. He's in now. So now you have a bright young mind who can actually go in there and stop picking apart things and maybe bring the city back to the 21st century or into the 21st century. Rather than living this idea of the 1930s, 1940s, where we're still talking about the mills and Living Borden and this and this other one. It's like, hey, listen, the 22nd century is literally just around the corner. Yeah, it's 80 years away, but in the scope of time, that is nothing. So we either got to push the city and prepare ourselves for the new industries and the new technological advancements that are going to be made, or we're going to stay here and we're going to still be talking about the mills and what we're going to do with that and how we can do this and how we can do this other one and maybe we should fix the port, and nothing still gets done. So in my life, I'm very enthusiastic on what I see with Jasiel. I have an open mind with him. I'm open to all ideas, as you're well aware of with me already. So I think it's a good thing. I'm just happy Sutter is out. I think my father said it best when he calls him a zombie. I'm happy right now. I am happy, and I'm looking forward to what the kid can do. And if the kid can't deliver, in 2 years, you put his ass right back out.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that Fall River doesn't have a problem moving on from mayors all of a sudden, which is kind of interesting.
Nope. three in a year and a half. I mean, you know, you want to talk about chaos. I personally love chaos. Chaos is when you get the best ideas and the best people involved. Everybody wants stability, and stability becomes very stagnant. It becomes corrupt. Stability becomes very predictable, and nothing ever gets done in a stable environment. But when you get chaos and you start throwing all this thing into the fire, you know, more fuel here, more fuel there, and the other ideas start emerging because you want to fix the chaos, that's really when the best stuff really happens. You know, some of the best geniuses in the world were, you know, politically crazy. And sometimes you need the crazy in order to create something beautiful again.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward. I think our mayor seat and school committee is good. I'm hopeful about some of the things going on in the city council as well. So we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah,
We will see.
One thing I do want to mention about school, and I'm sick and tired of hearing this. Everybody keeps saying, you know, we're making progress forward, and we are. You know, if you're looking at a statistic and you move a couple of points here and you move a couple of points there, yeah, it's fantastic. The problem with the education system in Fall River, and it's not typically just in Fall River, but within the state of Massachusetts and nationally, is when you look at our students, we cannot compete with the global education environment. And what I mean by that is, take a student from anywhere in the country, you know, your average student, and you place them up against the average student from China, Japan, Europe, Latin America. They cannot compete. You know, 3/4 of the PhD candidates in this country are foreign born. They're not even American anymore, because we can't produce the students that we need in order to get that PhD. And all these modern jobs, modern technical jobs that you keep on hearing in the media and around, you know, we want these technical jobs, technical expertise. We're not training ourselves for it. It's not something that you can go through a 6-month program and be like, okay, you can play with this type of instrumentation now. That's not how it works. You know, you need master's and PhD degrees in engineering, in physics, in chemistry, biology. These are the industries and these are the fields that are going to pull the economy forward in the next 20 to 30 years, especially when you considering all the new medical devices that are going to be coming out, all the latest technology with Wi-Fi, and as soon as the computer chips, you know, become a lot cheaper, so the stuff you have in your iPhone now, in about 2 to 4 years becomes obsolete. Well, that chip becomes very cheap to make, and that's where the new technology is actually going to start coming in from, so you can have all these things in your home at a much cheaper rate.
Gotcha.
So when you're talking about education, what the city has to do is make a drastic leap forward. You know, you have to stop looking at it as you're competing with New Bedford or, hey, the gateway cities, we're doing better than they are.
We gotta think bigger, go bigger.
Great. Exactly. That's great that you're competing with the gateway city for whoever it is you want to compete with. But in the actuality is, when you look at the gateway cities and you look at Bristol County in the South Coast, we're underachieving. We're not performing at all, not in a global stage. And that's one of the things I'm hoping the school committee can really attack and address and really start pushing the sciences forward, especially the mathematics, because this Common Core shit sucks.
I don't know if that's going anywhere right now, man.
What's that?
I don't know if that's going anywhere.
No, that's going to stay. I mean, the thing that amazes me about the state of Massachusetts and its education system is in 93, 94, I forget the exact year it was, when they reformed the education system, Massachusetts jumped to first in the nation in terms of education. We were the top dog, all right? And when you looked at it, even up recently, after a few years ago, when you look at the Massachusetts students and you compare them to the rest of the world, in language, we were in the top 3. In math and science, we were in the top 5. And this is before Common Core. So I'm intrigued to find out that now with the implementation of Common Core, where are we in terms of statistically globally, you know, compared to the other nations? And I got a feeling we're going to make a substantial drop. So, you know, it's one of those things that you try to look and see, you know, if it's working great, why are you changing it?
Right.
And it's a political move at that point, and it sucks when you got politics involved with things like medical medical issues, educational issues. There should be no politics in that. That should be you, your child, your family, whatever. And the goal should be always to improve for the greater good.
I hear you, man. I hear you, sir. Did you get it? Did you get a chance to congratulate the new mayor or anyone like that? Did you get a chance to run into anybody?
I congratulated a few people, but I only voted for 6 people on my ballot combined.
Good for you.
I don't just waste my vote on individuals. I'd
I
rather
agree with that one.
vote for one guy than vote for 9 and say, I voted for 9, and then 3 guys I don't like are in.
I hear you, bud.
So I try to limit myself, and I only vote for the people who I truly believe can make a difference, and I can really get behind the ideas and the philosophies and the work ethic that they're presenting forward.
I see.
And again, like I said, in 2 years, if they don't produce, get their asses the hell out of there, because I don't have time or money to waste on some idiot in city council or mayor or school committee or whatever it is. I don't have time or money to waste on that. If you waste my time and money, well, screw you, get the hell out.
We had about 35%, almost about 35% of the vote came through. So, I'd love to see those numbers get higher. I think this was a pretty good number for us in comparison to the past. So,
Now, that number's a good start, and basic, political science will teach you, the higher the number is for voter turnout is, the more incumbents come out of office.
Yeah, well, that's what we saw. We saw 3 get knocked down today, yesterday. So that was pretty good.
If that number would have been higher, I bet you would have seen at least 6 or 7 come out of there.
Yeah, it's pretty close. I was about 288 from knocking down another one. So, that's a good sign. But we need to make sure that we keep the pedal to the metal on that, as far as holding people accountable. I mean, if an incumbent is doing well, then an incumbent is doing well. There's no reason to vote them out if they're doing good. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you're 288 away. From someone who didn't spend money, someone who did.
I spent money. I clearly spent money.
Time out there. Well, you weren't grabbing money from everybody else to pay for your.
Nah, right? I didn't break the bank.
Fundraising is what I meant.
Yeah.
But to be that close, that's an accomplishment in and itself. I know many doubters said you couldn't do it without raising money, and you came pretty damn close. Well, that's a good thing. Hopefully that's another slap in the face to a few more people, not to mention names. And I'm pretty sure we all know who they are. And tell them, I can tell you one thing. There was one female counselor who left a specific location, and she looked like her dog just died, her parents died, her mother died, her father died, kids died, the world blew up in front of her. That's how pissed she was. Walking off of an event.
Yes.
Night. So
when you told me that, I was very happy to hear that information, because I figure somebody had something going on with the incumbent mayor, and I guess maybe that storyline is going to change now. So it is what it is.
It's always backroom deals, I mean, this is an individual that supported him during the recall, still supported him. And even knowing that, again, I mean, it was mentioned on the show already, you got a 1.3 trash deficit, and that enterprise fund. That's not big. You might not even get the taxes certified until you fix that. So there's an issue right there, which came from the Sutter administration.
Right.
You still have a net school spending, which came from the Sutter administration, even though he said he did. You have problems with the firefighters still. You're going to have problems with the police department. Your school department is still a mess. To turn around and still support an individual who basically not led you, but has taken you from step A now to step B, and step B doesn't look any better than A, and you're still supporting that, I have a hard issue, swallowing that.
Yeah, I understand that. I got you, buddy. Hey, thank you for calling in, my friend.
No problem. After all of our conversations, it's about time I called.
Yeah, we had a ton of good ones, so we'll have more, I'm sure. Take care, man. All right?
For sure.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
There it is. We had another phone call in here, but while we were doing it, but I don't know if I got it. Let's see.
So very quiet for a moment just then while
Yeah.
you're checking the phone.
Yeah, I'm looking at.
We're
I'm
checking
looking to
the phone
see.
lines.
I'm looking to see if I had another phone call for the show. It's a personal call, so we are not taking that one right now.
Oh, why not?
Oh well,
That may be an interesting call.
It's definitely not an interesting call. It's definitely has nothing to do with politics or anything to do at all with anything. So you were in the middle of saying something about.
Yeah, I'm lost. I
We
didn't
lost you?
write it down.
We lost you that time.
Yeah, I didn't write it down that time.
When you look at the landscape of our situation now in Fall River, I see hope. Like I see a movement in the right direction. I actually do, for the first time in a long time. And even Josh told me yesterday he felt as though a weight's been lifted off of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are starting to feel that. You definitely have to give the people a lot of credit. Not recallers. I'm not calling them recallers at all right now. I'm calling people who wanted to see some changes in Fall River.
Residents, man.
Yeah. And that groups a lot of people together that just didn't recall Mayor Flanagan, but whoever wanted to be involved in something that changed the shape of our government. I think we're going to be moving in a better direction right now, not just because of one person, like not just because of Jasiel Correia or just because of Edward Costa. I think a combination of people getting together and making their voices heard and getting involved in the politics in general just is a good thing for everybody. Social media in general has been peeling some of the layers off of some of the secrets going on around our lovely city as well, and in our government. And again, all that stuff happens, and it happens for a reason, because we want to solve these problems. One of the big things that I ran into during my campaign was the security problems going on in the high rises. It's a huge, huge problem. And I didn't realize it until I actually went into the high rises and talked to these people. So that action alone has now made me want to walk around and ask questions in other areas and where the problems are there. And so we have more fuel to bring to the fire of this whole process of trying to solve problems.
It seems as if housing, Fall River housing, has just as many issues itself in the city of Fall River. Like we're talking about the city government, that's Fall River housing as well. So they're not taking care of their issues. So they have their own people in seats and in offices, and maybe those people need to be transferred out and new changes come in. So there's a lot of things that need to change.
And the battle to fix Fall River and put Fall River back on the right track doesn't end with an election. It starts with an election, perhaps, and maybe it continues to the next one, and it continues in the off season. And really what they do in the non-campaign seasons is going to really set up where we are come election time. So we're going to be keeping track, and that's why I like about doing this podcast. That's why I initially would like, as far as our newspapers and our local radio station out there, if they did their part in being objective and reporting what's out there and peeling those layers again, we would have a great opportunity to move forward in the right direction. But we'll see what happens. I mean, as far as the media goes now, because now they focused a lot on promoting Sam Sutter, and now they're going to have to focus on the new mayor. So we'll see how they go about it, and we'll see how Jasiel Correia himself handles the situation. I know. So we'll see the direction everything goes there.
Shady acres. I'm a kind of want to get into a little discussion about the social media aspect of what people are talking about as far as the election go and how upset some people are. I came across this comment yesterday for somebody's post. What I did was I had gone into Facebook and I just Googled, not Googled, but I guess I Facebooked Jasiel's name. When you do that, articles or people's posts will come up. And I have to say, I was so excited to see some of them, because like there was one which was from a young person, and it said, see young people can accomplish things, like go millennials. Like it was just pretty cool. And I guess maybe I view it differently because I'm a mom of a 20-year-old. So to me, I'm happy that young adults are finally getting back to, as a previous caller said, once upon a time at 23 years old, you had 5 kids and you had a mortgage and all this stuff. Not that I want people to have 5 kids at 23, but we need to get away from the fact that a 23-year-old is like a baby. They're not babies. They're adults. They can vote. They can go to war. They can have families. They can buy homes. They need to be treated like adults, not like children who are incapable of doing the right thing. You know, we don't have any faith in a 23-year-old because he's 23. What kind of stuff is that? You know, there are some 16-year-olds that are smarter than 50-year-olds. So let's get away from the whole age thing. But anyway, so when going through some of the posts, I happened to notice this one. And I love things that are ironic. They make me chuckle. This is one of them. This person says, I pray the loudmouths and bottom feeders give him the opportunity to actually put some policies into place that will move Fall River forward. The culture is so decidedly negative, and I'm not sure he'll have a chance. I think he can make a difference. The question is, will he be given a chance? Now, let me just say, this person that posted this, the first thing they said was, I pray the loudmouths and the bottom feeders give him the opportunity to actually put some policies into place. Now, are you calling? Because I would consider myself to be part of the Throw Up in Fall River group. When somebody says Throw Up in Fall River, their Facebook page, or somebody says a recaller, I'm a proud member of those two groups. Mm-hmm. Very proud member. Not one person can say, I insult them, I do whatever. I bring out facts, so I know what I post. So when I see somebody say, I pray the loudmouths and the bottom feeders give him the opportunity to actually put some policies into place, I would have to say, when you're talking about the insults that we have, okay, when you call people loudmouths and bottom feeders, are you calling me a loudmouth and a bottom feeder because I'm bringing forth facts? Who exactly are you calling loudmouths and bottom feeders? Because I'm not personally insulting anyone in office. I'm insulting the job they're doing as an elected official. So to call me a loudmouth or a bottom feeder because I'm voicing my opinion, again, who's being negative? I'm not being negative by bringing out problems that are, by the way, solvable. But when you call somebody a loudmouth or a bottom feeder, there's no remedy to that other than you shutting up. There's no remedy to that.
There it is.
So who's being negative? Somebody who's bringing up an issue that can be solved, or somebody who's calling people names for bringing up issues that can be solved?
Hey,
I had to get that off my chest because it's driving me crazy.
It's hypocritical, right?
It's so ironic.
Yeah.
You know, they're so negative. Those loudmouths and bottom feeders are so negative. What the hell are you talking about? Do you know how much the Sanitation Enterprise Fund costs?
Probably not. Okay,
do you know even what an enterprise fund is? If you don't, then you know who the loudmouth bottom feeder is? Not me.
I think we've had this conversation so many times about what's negative and what's positive, right? Yeah. To me, it's a positive to have people probing and looking into the situation and seeing where your money's being wasted, spent, and abused. And for any citizen to be against that, it's mind-boggling to say the least. I mean, that's probably the most low-key word I could use, mind-boggling. So I
agree. Because if they took the time to get to know why people are being so vocal, they might change their minds. And even if they didn't, they would at least have an understanding. You know, I have political disagreements with people on in person and on social media all the time. But I can still laugh and joke with them right after we have our political disagreement. I don't call anybody names or call them down for voicing their opinion because it's their opinion. Mm-hmm. They have every right to that. So I think that's where, we have all this group of people who claims not to be so negative, saying that this other group of people are negative. How about we all sit down and figure out why there's negative conversation to begin with? What's negative? How can we fix it? How can we change that? This whole name calling, like I chuckle every time I get like a loudmouth or a bottom feeder because I know that person could not answer the questions that I've been asking.
No, not at all. And, you know, I remember you said during the debate, some of the Sutter people were upset with you because of the interview you did with them on the show, and they were hoping you fall out of your seat
in a
or
hole
something
on
like
a
that.
stage. There was a little spot on the stage that had like a little hole for something in it, and I had high heels on, and you could hear them behind me going, fall, back up, back up, back up. You know, I'm from the project. Like, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. That it's little kid stuff. Like, if that's the kind of thing that you're gonna say, then you're just showing me exactly why the person you're supporting needs to be out of office.
It's pretty amazing that you've become a villain to a Sutter supporter.
Right?
How does that even work?
And not for nothing, I don't endorse any candidate. I could sit right on the side of you right now. I have never, and I endorsed one person, and it was Ed Costa. And the only reason I endorsed him, I am a parent of children in the school system, and I've been a parent of kids in the school system for a long time. I see I know what changes that I think that the change in the school committee, personally for me, is going to affect my life more than the change in me. I mean, the mayor helps because that's part of the school committee as well, and then the city council. So that's the only person I've endorsed. I don't like endorsements. Everybody should be entitled. Just because you like a particular candidate doesn't mean that half the city of Fall River should go vote for them just because you like them. Like, who the hell are you? Like, you know, like, oh, the Herald News editorial board endorsed people. Like, who the hell are they? They're just people with an opinion, just like me. Doesn't hold any weight. So
no, absolutely.
I don't make any kind of endorsement. So again, when Dottie was shaking her head at me, to me, it was like, just for her shaking her head at me, your husband should not be the mayor of Fall River. If you're going to shake your head at residents who are asking really good questions, you shouldn't be mayor. Period.
I wonder who took it harder during Sutter's speech, concession speech. Sutter, who was actually saying the speech, or Dottie on the side of him? Because looking at facial expressions, Dottie was not looking happy. Like, she looked more dejected.
Just pissed.
I know. All right, I was trying not to go that far, but she looked very ticked off. Like, it was like, wow, I can't believe this happened. Wow, I'm so pissed off.
You know what I felt like? I'm not going to be able to buy that dress. That's what I felt like watching her face, honestly. But you know what? What have I said this whole time? I don't believe that anything that's come out of Sutter's mouth has been his idea or his words. I've said that from jump. There's no, like, when he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. So I refuse to believe that the man who was DA, district attorney for 8 years, is that unintelligent that he wouldn't look up thing. You know what I mean? So to me, it's whoever's giving him that information.
As a lawyer, you're constantly supposed to be researching and probing and things like that. But as a DA, maybe his strength was delegation, because when he said to me, you and I, he relies on other people to bring him the
and
information.
He specifically said that.
Yeah. So but the thing is, with Ken Pacheco and some of the other people out there, if he's relying on them to bring that information, then that information needs to be accurate all the time. And I don't think that Mayor Sutter was listening to a lot of those council meetings, because if he walked away from those council meetings, like we have walked away from those council meetings, I'm pretty sure he would know that his administration was not being representative as far as accuracy of information goes.
Or even just the information that some people are posting. I don't want to say I'm the only one, because there's a lot of people who have posted great information. But how do you have a team of people working for you and nobody brings you the information that I've been posting? How do you not know? You know, I'm going to tell you, because I'll say it now after the debate. When I sat there and I asked that, for the second debate, when I asked the question about sanitation, I did not even think that Jasiel had listened to anything that I said or had read any of my posts. Because if you can recall, when he called into City Talk the week before Sutter did, I asked him the exact same questions. My questions to Sutter and my questions to Jasiel were exactly the same. They were the same question. Neither had an answer. The difference was Jasiel was like, I never realized that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention when he called the show. I didn't realize he was going to further do some investigation. When I asked the question on the stage and he came out with information that I've been begging people to look at for months, I didn't know what to say because I was like, holy cow, he just slapped Sutter with my own information.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not think that it was going to be like that. I didn't realize that it made me happy. Like at that moment I was on stage and I was like, oh my God, somebody finally listened to what the hell I've been saying. So it was like, I really wasn't at the debate for those 5 minutes because in my head I was like, wow, somebody finally listened to it.
And you're like, could I have a follow-up question, please?
It was because then I wanted to hit him with the recycling. Like I really wasn't off of those 5 minutes. I was in shock. So when it was done, I wanted to get back and ask about the recycling portion and why housing has their recycling carts.
Right.
But I didn't get there either way. But yeah, I'll say that now.
One thing Nikki forgot to mention is that when Jasiel was like, paying attention to all this on the radio show and he was asking all these questions that I'll have to look into it, Nikki was like doing the Arsenio Hall fist pump, like all that was left was for her to just go all out Arsenio Hall. It was just it was the perfect moment. You knew at that point that something was gonna happen. And then you go to Sutter, you knew he wasn't ready. And you, like you said, both had the opportunity to prepare.
And I expected Sutter to actually be prepared.
And he wasn't.
And he was not.
The other part of it, and then we also mentioned that part of the debate where Jasiel brought up the DOR, the spreadsheet that was on the city council meeting. Sutter had opportunity to get that report, to review that report from his own administration, his own staff.
Yeah.
And he never did. And when he was brought that paper, he's like, I have never seen this before. That spoke volumes because that was another thing that was completely that was another huge blow to to that whole debate.
Well, it's true. The same thing where he didn't know that the CSO originally was charging for the water sewer CSO was charging, but not trash. How do you not know that when you're the one who puts the budget together? Right. So those kinds of things is what makes him questionable. It's not policy, or it's okay. We have questions and he can't answer those questions, and he should be able to at least give some kind of an answer.
Straight out of Fall River hoodies being sold online. Everybody. Just want everybody to know that. We're promoting Fall River Clothing's photo here. There you go. Actually, that's actually pretty cool.
I still want one that says straight out of your council seat.
Right.
That's pretty funny too.
There's a couple of companies that could probably do that for you. I believe the company that does that will probably do it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I did actually want to bring something else up that I saw in the newspaper. Actually, I saw it online on the Herald website. So one of the talking points from the prior city council meeting was the fact that they were going to bring down one of the pumper truck. I don't know if anyone caught that article, but they did do that. I believe it was on the 4th or the 3rd. I'm not sure the date. So they brought it down. Article goes into comparisons of the pumper truck versus the ones that we currently have. It's about almost a foot wider, about 3 feet longer wheelbases. They go through all the specifics. They took it for a test drive around Lindsay Street North End. So if anyone didn't watch the city council meeting, the biggest problem of why they didn't go after this truck was because they didn't realize what the specifications were. They didn't know any of the sizes. They didn't know the width. They didn't know the wheelbase. They didn't know any of this. So what happened was about a month ago they asked for the funds. Then 2 weeks later, which is what, about 12 days ago, 10 days ago, whatever it was. Then they came back saying, oh, well, we looked at it, we realized it wasn't going to be what we wanted. But then we were like, hey, just to be safe, let's bring it down for a test drive. So they finally did. And I do want to, they were very surprised at how it did do around the city. You have a quote with Jason Burns, the president of the Firefighters Union, says it was much better. It was better than anticipated, the test run. So it was able to get down every street, and we took down some of our very difficult areas. So I mean, they did go through some.
Did they only go through the south end, the north end?
Well, it doesn't specifically state where they went. It just says that we took down some of our they went through some of the streets through the very difficult areas, and it did better than they expected. So I mean, and of course Jay Burns said that the apparatus needs to be updated, quote unquote, yesterday. Yeah. So I mean, with Jay saying that it needed to be done yesterday, with Fire Chief Vera saying that they could, maybe they can hold off for another year or two. I'm very, very, I'm kind of torn of,
Me
who
too.
do I really want to listen to? I mean,
me too.
There's something's not jiving with this whole picture, and I don't know if there was anything politically driven there from what Fire Chief said versus what Jason Burns is saying right now. So to me, that was kind of a very big, reading the article, that portion of the article. I don't
understand how the chief can go and ride the truck wherever it came from and said it wouldn't work on the streets, and then they did bring it down here, drove it around, and it would work on the streets. I'm so confused. I feel like all of a sudden, well, for a long time, the fire department's they've been taking a big hit, but I feel like now something's going on. Something's definitely going on.
I agree. We're not gonna lie. The article even states that when they tried to back it into one of the I believe it was the Bedford Street station, they said that there was literally 2 inches on either side for clearance from where the rear views were. So it's gonna be. So you knew it was a larger vehicle. You knew it was gonna be tight. Getting it in and out, getting the fire truck in and out of the stations will be a little bit more of a challenge. However, if it works for the city and we can get that one piece of apparatus, I am perfectly fine with it. I mean, I would love to see it here, servicing the city whenever there is a fire. That's just my take. And you're just ready to laugh, aren't you?
No, I'm not laughing at all.
Okay. I just saw the smirk. Did I just go on my tangent?
No.
Okay.
No, we're smirking because of other things.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Don't say nothing.
Because of other things.
Okay.
I want you to read that, though, and absorb this, because you're going to get used to this for another 2 years. This kind of thing.
You know what? I think that kind of thing is so great. And the reason I think it is so great, right, is because there has been such a negative Nelliness, new word, going on. You know what? I take that back. Negative Nelliness.
No.
I don't want to take back. I want to take back negative Nelliness, because Nelly is
strong.
Anytime I hear Nelly, I automatically think of her. So
I was going to say the same.
You know what?
Thing.
We're going to get rid of negative Nelly, because she's a positive Nelly. So
negatifications.
Yes, negatifications. That's a good one. With all of behind the whole recall thing. So anybody, like, the whole point is it's legal. Everybody has the right to do it. So if they feel, anybody in the city of Fall River feels the need to come forward and want to start a recall for whoever they feel deserves to be recalled, more power to them. I, honest to God, wish them the best of luck. Go for it. If you think you can do it, I wish you luck, because see, here's the difference. I'm not like you. While you were sitting here insulting us because we wanted to recall a mayor who wasn't doing the job we thought he should have done.
Right.
We were laughed at. We were negatively called names. Here's the thing. It's your God-given right. Go for it if you feel you can.
You're going to put together a case.
What's up now?
Yeah, let's see if they put together a case. I'm not really sure what they would be able to actually say.
Obviously, I wouldn't be a part of it, but I congratulate them. Go for it. If you think you can accomplish it, go for it.
If Jasiel starts doing the things that Flanagan did during the end of his tenure, maybe I'll join the page. That'll be fun to do.
Right?
No, but everyone has a right to stand
absolutely
up and for what they believe in. If this is, obviously, I think this is more of a joke site than anything. But if it's, if it becomes a legitimate situation, I'm pretty sure I know person number one who will get involved. I'm pretty sure I know person number one who will get involved if things ain't going right. So then we'll see what happens after that. So
Person number 1, number 2, number 3.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we can name them all by just
they'll all get involved.
I actually think it's flattering, okay? Because they're taking a play out of our book. Like the best form of flattery is when somebody copies you, right? Like
absolutely.
imitation
is best form of flattery. Thank you, Derek. So right there, I mean, it's kind of like high fives to the recallers. Like how negative are they if you're trying to do exactly what they did? But anyway.
But doesn't this little group here realize that accountability started with the recallers? So if this mayor doesn't do what he said he would, accountability will still be handed out.
Amen.
I mean, we will still hold him accountable. So I don't understand where this is coming from. I like you said, it's sour
great.
grapes.
Yeah, it's great.
They just want to protest for the sake of protesting. Hey, do what you want to do to what your heart's desire. I don't care. But if you're going to do that before he even steps foot in office, then you look foolish.
I got a text message about your thing about the fire truck. Joe Good did a periscope following the fire truck through some of the streets. It looked tight on some streets, but it made it. And whoever was with her mentioned, what about trying to get through the streets after snowstorms?
Ooh,
That's good call.
That's a good question. Yep. Because you definitely lose a little bit of room on either side of the streets, and that's a great point. So Texter. Good job.
I want to hear from all the guys driving the equipment. Like, I don't want to hear from somebody who's not driving that truck. I want to hear from somebody who's always going to be in that truck.
A driver.
Yes. The guys who are in it.
I think, I mean, I don't know if we're going to be able to interview him, but maybe somebody out there will. Maybe Joe. We'll see.
Maybe we should, because I could go for a ride on a fire truck. I've never been for a ride on a fire truck, man.
Maybe
you want to play with the sirens, don't you?
Maybe
the back. I want to sit in the back with a wheel. You know, because I never.
I hear that.
See?
The person that does that, there's some serious. I hear there's some serious training that takes place.
I'm
with
sure
that,
there is. That's
maybe
crazy.
Our friend to the show, Jason Burns, would be able to talk to somebody.
Maybe
he might know somebody that knows somebody. Maybe, perhaps.
We'll go with the airport road. We'll just use the little practice facility over there.
I hear they cleared some land up Innovation Way. Maybe we could go up there and test it out.
Nice.
Very nice.
I am.
They
I'm
did.
the game if you
That's what everybody keeps saying. But they cleared some land. I'm like, yeah, it's city-owned property. They could tear down any tree they want to. It doesn't mean anything.
If city councils can go and put on the apparatus, see how it feels, I think we should be able to try to drive around some of the apparatus and it controls.
We are the media.
We are.
Yes.
We are.
We're really not.
Yeah, we are.
I'll make some good
I
credentials.
think we're just a podcast.
Hey, I'll make
City talk.
Hey, I'll make credentials. We're good.
I don't want to take ourselves too seriously. Over
Hey,
here.
I've had a VIP pass in my time.
Hey, yo,
I've had a media
Let's
pass.
kick it.
That's nice.
Yeah, we can't because of copyright laws. We can't sing "Ice Ice Baby" on.
We
on the
can,
radio.
so long as we talk about it and discuss it.
I don't want to do that.
All right, how about if we just stop and collaborate and listen?
I don't want to do that either. Actually, I don't want
That's
to do any
great.
of
That
that.
was awesome, Derek. By the way, you get 18,000 points for that.
For the win.
Great.
In my estimation, that's a win.
I'm fighting this respiratory infection here, guys. I'm going to make my way up to Brockton, VA, so I can talk to some people about getting some medication. Everybody have a great day. I'm not 100% sure I'll be on tomorrow because of this, but we'll try our best to get on air tomorrow. And everybody, thank you for listening. Good, Derek.
No, I was just gonna say good. Have a good day, everyone.
Hasta luego.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.